he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah.
That is our job.
I agree. It's our job to control what the people think, not Elon Musk's, and certainly not the people's. Good evening. Here's what we want you to think tonight. World War III has begun and is being fought between Elon Musk and Twitter's board. What's the latest and who will win? As the Thought Police, we'll have the full report for you tonight as we present to you lies you can trust. Over the past week, Twitter has become a platform exclusively dedicated to talking about Elon Musk buying Twitter, specifically in short-form thoughts that don't matter or make any difference to anyone else. This is kind of like having a sex robot that only itself. Yet the Twitter board, seemingly intent on everyone, doesn't like it. How so? Well, in a power move last week, as Elon is apparently attempting to save democracy by preserving free speech, he offered to buy 100% of Twitter at 20% above market value for $43 billion in cash. Not a bad offer for a worthless company. But Twitter's board, who apparently does not have a fiduciary responsibility to Twitter shareholders, but does have a responsibility to serving an agenda to destroy democracy, blocked him from doing so. In a very rare move called a poison pill, Twitter's board offered existing shareholders to purchase additional shares, not including Elon, at a discount. The intention of this plan is to dilute Elon's existing shares and to make acquiring the worthless company cost prohibitive. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who was pushed out of the company to make room for a global agenda, said of Twitter's board, "It's consistently been the dysfunction of the company." Referencing a screenshot of Twitter's board members and each one's percentage shares of the company, Elon said, "Wow, with Jack departing, the Twitter board collectively owns almost no shares. Objectively, their economic interests are simply not aligned with shareholders." If the Twitter board's actions aren't aligned with the interests of the shareholders, what's driving their actions? Is it corruption? No! The always logical radical left, specializing in doublespeak, informs us that Elon is trying to destroy democracy by preserving free speech. And Twitter's board is protecting us from that. Makes sense if you don't think about it, so instead of thinking about it, let me tell you what to think. We need to prevent rich people from controlling our channels of communication, says the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, who bought it for $250 million. Well, let's hear more about what you should think. In a very non-hypocritical, no agenda to keep the common people from having power, Business Insider says, billionaire Jeff Bezos' Washington Post buy marks a fascinating cultural transition in America. They go on to say years later of Elon Musk. Elon Musk's attempt to buy Twitter represents a chilling new threat. Billionaire trolls taking over social media. Again, we warn you, please do not attempt to think too much about this, or else you'll be at significant risk of no longer believing our narrative. This just in! Big tech social media is full of toxic censorship, and my days are probably numbered. So please follow me on Rumble and Getter. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. But what do both sides of the war being fought over free speech on the battleground of Twitter have to say about all this? Well, a man who uses Twitter named Drew Hernandez says, "Remember, Elon Musk wants to make Twitter a fair, free speech platform. This is what Twitter is fighting against." Well, two sides to every story, Drew, because a man being used by Twitter named Max Boot says, "I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less." Of course we do, Max. We need more censorship and less free speech for democracy to survive. That deserves a Nobel Prize in doublespeak. And wow, I see a Ukraine flag in his profile. Shocker. Just think about all the people in Ukraine whose lives are better because he went to the trouble of putting a flag in his Twitter bio. With his stellar philosophy of saving democracy by destroying free speech, perhaps next we'll see Max saving the people of Ukraine by bombing them. But in closing, will Elon Musk end up saving your right to free speech by acquiring Twitter? Well, spoiler alert, It doesn't matter if he does or not, because the only thing that can and will preserve your right to free speech is you having the awareness to know what you think and you having the courage to speak what's on your mind. Don't be fooled. The power lies within you, not Elon. Good night. Hey, spoiler alert, freedom wins. It's one of the brand new additions to my Freedom line of merch. You can check it out along with all the classic designs at awakenwithjp.com. Stay free. I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Magnesium Breakthrough, made by Bioptimizers. We live in a world where it's very easy to become stressed. You just look around, you look at the news, which don't, but if you do, you'll see there's a million things you can be stressed about. You could have relationship stress, financial stress, worried about like, are we gonna have an apocalypse? Has the apocalypse already started? And if you're not worried about that, what is wrong with you? You should be worried about that. But as empowering as all that worry is, there's actually a downside, because the quality of one's health and life largely depends on our ability to de-stress ourselves. The higher our stress levels, the more our health goes down and the more our quality of life goes down. But the good news about that is the more we can lower our stress levels, the more our health and quality of life goes up. But here's the problem. How do we lower our stress levels? Well, there's a lot of cool ways to do it, but one of my favorite ways that takes no extra time out of your day is using Magnesium Breakthrough. What most people don't know, because they're idiots, is that there's one key nutrient that can noticeably reduce your stress levels, and that key nutrient is in fact magnesium. But here's the issue with that. You might say, well, JP, I have magnesium in my food. But the problem is, a lot of soil is depleted, so it's actually lacking in magnesium, therefore our food's lacking in magnesium. Or you might say, well, I take a vitamin mineral supplement, it has magnesium in it. But you need all 7 forms of magnesium in order to effectively reduce your stress, and Magnesium Breakthrough delivers all forms of magnesium that you need in order to reduce your stress. I take 2 capsules in the evening so I can stop freaking out about the day and de-stressing, which also helps me get a good night of sleep. If you want to improve your health and have a great quality of life by reducing your stress in a way that takes no extra time, check out Magnesium Breakthrough at magnesiumbreakthrough.com/JP. And because you're a viewer of mine, be sure to use the discount code AWAKEN for the healthiest deal ever. Enjoy.